While many fans are eagerly awaiting the fall release of the Isles of Emberdark, those well invested in the Cosmere will know that it's not the only canonical Cosmere story we're getting this year. To be released alongside the World Books and Player Guide, the CosmereRPG will see its first full campaign release in September of this year. For those who aren't up to speed, the CosmereRPG is a new tabletop role-playing game made by Brotherwise Games in close collaboration with Brandon Sanderson and Dragonsteel Entertainment. The first campaign setting will be launching in September and will take players on a journey from the Shattered Plains all the way to Shinavar, with plenty of stops along the way. In this video, we'll explore the journey that Roshar's latest adventuring party will be embarking on, while exploring what we know about the campaign so far. Spoiler warning. For those who want to be surprised by the adventure, we'll be going over several plot points. There's also going to be some spoilers for the Stormlight Archive, especially the Way of Kings and Words of Radiance. But we'll talk about Wind and Truth too. Here's generally what we know about the campaign thus far. The campaign book is about 160 pages long. The adventure is set during Words of Radiance. Players can expect to level from 1 to 7. We'll meet some major characters, including Nael, Taln, the Night Watcher, and Axes the Collector. We'll visit some familiar locations like Rathalas, Shadesmar, and the Shattered Plains, but also visit places we've only heard of in lore, like Ralarim. The main adversary is a corrupted Truth Watcher named Yield. Let's explore the campaign and see what's on offer. The first chapter in the Stonewalkers campaign appears to be in Alethkar, north of the war camps. While I'm unsure if this has been officially confirmed, key art for the campaign heavily suggests that we'll be helping transport Taln on his way to the Shattered Plains. For those who need the refresher, at the end of the Way of Kings, we see Wit meet Taln as he enters Kholinar. Later, Taln is brought to the Shattered Plains by Borden, one of Dalinar's guards. Wit also accompanies the escort at some point, but leaves soon after departing Kholinar. I'm interested to see if we get to meet Wit during the course of the campaign. Meeting him in the first arc would be a great Easter egg for longtime Cosmere fans. He's not mentioned in any of the press materials or interviews we've seen thus far, but can you really call it a Cosmere story without him kicking around in the background somewhere? Even if we don't see him in the official storyline, there's nothing that says you can't add him into your own campaign. Assuming we travel with the caravan bringing Taln to the Shattered Plains, that's our next destination. We'll come to the Shattered Plains at the start of Part 3 in Words of Radiance. At this point in the book, Shallan is just arriving after her trek through the Frostlands. Kaladin is settling Bridge 4 into their new roles as bodyguards of the Kholins, and the Singer forces at the center of the Shattered Plains just discovered Stormform. What we'll be up to at the war camps is still a mystery, but I have a small tidbit on our time at the Shattered Plains. A few months back, I made a battle map of a marketplace in the war camps and posted it on investedinthecosmere.com, as well as Reddit. On the Reddit post, Johnny O'Neill, president and co-founder of Brotherwise Games, commented that the map would be very practical for Chapter 2 of Stonewalkers. This suggests that there may be some early combat encounters in the war camps. I'm not too sure what quest will send us to Rathalas, but that's our next destination in the campaign. Chapter 3 sets us up to visit the ruins of Rathalas. Rathalas was destroyed by Dalinar in 1163. The campaign is set towards the end of 1173, and I think it'll be cool to see what's become of the city nearly a decade after its destruction. From an interview at Gen Con in 2024, we learned that this chapter is meant to be more of a traditional dungeon crawl, aimed for characters around level 3. For those unfamiliar with tabletop RPGs, expect to see challenging puzzles, combat encounters, and even a big boss battle to cap it all off. While not strictly confirmed, my guess is that after our tour of Rathalas, we'll be headed to Shadesmar on our way to the next chapter. The Spren city of Celebrant is located in the nearby Sea of Spears, and it would be a great place for a break from our dungeon crawl in Chapter 3. This is further supported by concept art shared at Dragonsteel Nexus 2024, which showed players facing off against Anger Spren, which are common in the areas around Celebrant. If we're not traveling through Shadesmar, we will likely pass through the city of Karanak, which we've only heard of in passing in the books. Traveling across the Tarat Sea, we'll land on the coast of Greater Hexy and make our way towards the valley, home of the Night Watcher. During our travels, we'll meet and interact with the Night Watcher. The campaign book will include blessings and curses, some of which have been previewed on the campaign's Kickstarter. The book will hold some example blessings and curses, some of which are wild, but there will also be advice on how to create your own. When we have more official information, I'll be publishing my own boon table on investedinthecosmere.com. We also have some additional information about what will be happening while we travel throughout the valley. The campaign's main adversary, Yilt, sought out the Night Watcher looking for a way to kill a god, and was given a black shard blade, presumably Nightblood. How and why Nightblood got to Roshar is one of the big mysteries in the Stormlight Archive. I hope we get to learn more about what's going on in Vasher's storyline through this campaign. After we leave the valley, we'll travel across Emul. During the time in the books, Emul was locked into the 80 Years' War with neighboring Tukar. The people were also suffering from a famine that put the whole region on edge and set refugees pouring into Aesir. Making our way through Emul will be challenging, but we'll eventually make our way to the coast. Where exactly we end up is a bit of a mystery. There is a nearby city, and forgive my pronunciation, of Sesamalix Dar, but the travel line doesn't seem to suggest that we go there. It's well within the rights of the writing team over at Brotherwise to create new locations not canonicalized yet, and with the full support of Sanderson, we may be seeing cities we've never even heard of before. On that note, a place we've never seen but certainly have heard of is our next destination. We'll sail north and go straight to Ralarim. We don't know much about Ralarim from the books, but it's characterized as an odd place with a strange culture. The nickname City of Shadows gave me the impression that it was a dark and sinister place. This is the birthplace of Lift, who also remarked that it was as strange as it was rumored to be. Now with some official artwork on hand, we know it's quite the opposite. The capital of Eerie is a bright and colorful place. The aforementioned shadows come from the massive cliff face the city is built into, which casts a shadow across the city. The art was shared at CosmereCon 2024 in Spain. Reddit user Sir Zink was kind enough to translate the text, and I'll link to that Reddit thread below. What I caught on in that translation was the notes about the singer occupation post the True Desolation. Depending on how canonically long the campaign is intended to run, we might either get to see the singer occupation take place, or make it there just in time before it does. We end our campaign in Shinavar. Now that we have a more fleshed out map of Shinavar from Wind and Truth, we can take a look at where our journey comes to an end. It looks like we're somewhere in between the Edgedancer and Dustbringer monasteries, and given that the monasteries were said to be remote locations, we can expect that there is some kind of settlement around there. The one detail from the books that we can hold on to is that Nail eventually gets Nightblood, and time will tell what role the adventuring party will play in making that happen. And that's pretty much everything I was able to dig up about the CosmereRPG campaign to date. Were you one of the lucky few that got to play Chapter 3 at Gen Con? Have you found other tidbits that I missed? Leave a comment below. If you're gearing up to play the CosmereRPG this September, consider signing up for my free newsletter at investedinthecosmere.com. I've already begun working on guides, resources, and extended content for game masters and players, and there's already some content posted there today. With September just around the corner, I'll be posting plenty of content leading up to the release of the campaign, as well as in-depth reviews of the materials you get in the pre-order. The best way to keep up to date is by subscribing to this YouTube channel or investedinthecosmere.com, or both. Thanks for watching.